A fish stops swimming in open water, drifts sideways, and dies, and nothing ever touched it. The animal that killed it moves slower than you can watch, has no teeth, and cannot chase anything. By the end of this video, you will know how a snail hunts fish, why there is still no antivenom for its sting, and how that same venom ended up inside an approved painkiller. This is the geography cone, Conus geographus, a sea snail from the shallow reefs of the Indo-Pacific. It grows to about 4 to 6 inches, and the shell is genuinely beautiful, brown and white, patterned like an old map. Shell collectors have prized these for centuries. That is exactly the problem. Almost every recorded human death from a cone snail happened the same way, when someone picked up a live one. In 1932, a man in the Seychelles held one in his hand while scraping the shell with a knife. Within an hour, his whole body was numb. 9 hours later, he still could not stand. What makes this animal so hard to avoid is that nothing about it looks dangerous. It has no claws, no visible weapon, and no warning display. It hunts at night, and it moves so slowly that a fish will swim right past it without reacting. And that is the mild version of what this animal does. Hidden inside the snail's proboscis is a single hollow tooth, shaped like a harpoon. It works almost exactly like a disposable hypodermic needle. Venom is made in a long coiled duct, pushed through the tooth by a muscular bulb, and fired in a fraction of a second. The snail cannot outrun anything. It does not need to. A struggling fish is completely immobilized in 1 or 2 seconds, fast enough that it cannot escape or injure the snail. And the tooth is disposable. The snail carries spares and reloads. But the venom is where this gets strange. It is not one toxin. A single cone snail makes somewhere between 50 and 200 different compounds. Across the genus, with roughly 700 species, that is a chemical library nothing else in the ocean comes close to. And these are not blunt poisons. Each compound is shaped to fit one specific target, an ion channel or a receptor, with almost no waste. That precision is the whole reason this animal matters far beyond the reef. A conotoxin will lock onto one channel type and leave the rest of the body untouched, which is exactly what a drug designer wants. Now here is the part that still surprises biologists. The geography cone does something no other predator on Earth is known to do. Instead of only injecting venom, it releases a cloud of toxins into the open water first. Researchers named this mixture the Nirvana Cabal because fish that swim into it behave like they have been sedated. One of the ingredients is insulin, not a toxin that resembles insulin. Actual insulin evolved to match fish insulin more closely than it matches the snail's own. It crashes the blood sugar of a whole school of fish at once, and they drop into hypoglycemic shock. The snail then opens a false mouth that works like a net, engulfs the drifting fish, and harpoons them from the inside. It is one of the only animals known to weaponize a hormone instead of a nerve toxin. For humans, the numbers are less dramatic than the internet suggests. Only about 36 deaths have been recorded in 300 years. Bees and wasps kill more people than that in the United States every single year. But when a serious sting does happen, it is very hard to treat. There is still no antivenom for a cone snail sting. Treatment means keeping the person breathing until the toxins wear off on their own. One researcher described the effect as being bitten by a cobra while eating pufferfish, which makes what came next genuinely hard to believe. In 2004, the FDA approved a painkiller built from a peptide found in cone snail venom. It is called ziconotide, and it comes from Conus magus, a relative of the geography cone. It has been estimated at 1,000 times more potent than morphine. And because it blocks calcium channels instead of opioid receptors, it does not cause dependence. It is not a simple replacement for morphine, though. It cannot be swallowed, and it cannot cross into the brain from the bloodstream. It has to be delivered directly into the spinal fluid through a pump, which is why it is reserved for severe pain that nothing else touches. 20 years later, ziconotide is still the only cone snail drug approved anywhere. But researchers are now working through hundreds of other conotoxins, and the venom insulins are being studied as a model for diabetes drugs. An animal that kills by shutting down a nervous system may end up teaching us how to switch off pain without addiction. The shell that looks like a collector's ornament is one of the most sophisticated chemical weapons in the ocean. If you ever see one on a reef, look at it and leave it exactly where it is.